No, you would think that everyone's tired and after a long day and doesn't go too crazy.
There we go, everybody. We are live Thursday, February 7th. Josh and Eddie 2, Electric Boogaloo, is ready to go. Don't adjust your dials. We were here 3 hours ago doing this exact same thing. And we're back now. Different topic, sort of. Today's slate. We've got 6 games. We've got some teams that have been completely overhauled, sort of. What do you like? Okay. Is there a team that stands out to you the most that you want to target tonight?
There's a couple, but probably the Clippers.
Yeah.
Feels weird, road in Indiana, like give me all those guys I can get. But yeah, I think I'm still going to give me all those guys I can get.
All right, so let's talk about that game then.
Sure.
Is there a guy on the Clippers, because they are not getting a ton of ownership, at least on DraftKings.
That's what I heard.
Is there a guy on the Clippers that you want more than anyone else?
Yeah, I'll take Motley.
Yeah.
I'm fine with I'm happy Delgado is playing. I don't think he plays much. I do think he plays, but I think you get. I'll reduce my minutes projection on Motley at this point down to 29.
Oh, I have way less than that, and I still get him a ton.
Yeah, I'll go with 29. Will be my number. I think I have a decent feel about this. I've heard Doc speak about him a couple times. He is distinctly the better player. There's lots of ways it gets there with extra upside through Blowout or through Gallinari not really being ready to play 30 minutes, and they only have so many bigs. And he's certainly a proven fantasy quantity. Again, had multiple 40 and 50-point games last year when the Mavs were put into the tank. So I'll go with Motley. And last I looked at the ownership, he was in the single digits, which I think is preposterous. If he was at like 30%, I'd have had to sit there and think about over-under for a while. But like 7-8%, it has to go really, really weird for him not to get into the 20s in time at basically minimum price on a team where they just have to hand out the usage. And I mean, that's really the reason I like the guys on this team. I think you can do Gallo, especially on DK. I think you can do Lou Williams everywhere. I think you can do Shea, especially on DK, Pat Beverly, especially on FanDuel. I like running it back with a couple other guys in this game. But I'm pretty excited about the fact that there's going to be like 10% on Motley in my universe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have miles above that number as of right now. And whether he's at 8 or 18 or 25, it's not going to change anything for me because I'm going to have many multiples.
Yeah, I'd go for half-ish. Feels about right if I was building 150 lineups. I don't have a problem with people running Delgado. Watched a fair amount of him in the summer league until Delgado plays currently for their G League. Agua Caliente, I believe, is the Clips G League affiliate. They played last night. He put up 19 and 19.
Yeah, he plays like 34 minutes a game and averages like some sort of crazy double-double.
Yeah, he's just fine, especially by G League standards. He's worse than Jonathan Motley pretty significantly at this point in their careers. Like Motley is a fringe NBA starter. If Motley was still on Dallas, I really don't know where he fits in with Powell, Kleber, etc. But he's big energy guy. Can do a lot and play a couple positions. So I'm a Motley fan. So yeah, at this point where his ownership is going to be that low, and I don't blame people. Like you need to do some tea leaf reading here. Like you need to first of all be aware of how thin this team is at the bigs as opposed to the smalls. So you and I talked about this on the trade deadline show, but they have 4 players who should ever be playing forward or center, counting Delgado now.
Yeah,
like no one on this team other than Motley, Gallinari, Delgado. Somehow I forgot. Oh, and Montrezl Harrell should be playing anything past the 2. Now they will, which leads to a couple other interesting situations. I like Ty Wallace more than Jerome today.
Really?
I think they're much more comfortable playing him at the 3. Now this is all kinds of pulling stuff out of my ass here, but I'm not. I will hesitantly suggest that he might get more minutes. I still don't really want these guys.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm not really fond of either.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying play him, play Jerome Robinson, play Sindarius Thornwell. There's no reason to play these dudes. I can see playing minimum price Delgado like on DK at 3K flat and Yahoo at 10 flat, assuming he's even in the pool. Yeah. I think makes some degree of sense because there's definitely a path to him getting a lot of time out there, but it's still not like, he's still going to be cowed against, say, Miles Turner, who I absolutely adore, and Sabonis, and so it's still a sticky spot for him. But minimum price, I can see, if I'm playing Clippers, I would have shares of Angel Delgado before I got to my first share of all these specious wing guys between Robinson and Ty Wallace or something. But just to put my spoon out there, I'll go ahead and say I think Ty Wallace gets 26 minutes tonight. I think he gets a lot of that time at the 3.
Interesting. Yeah, totally. I walked him back a little bit. I can't get a feel for that scrap heap.
Oh, I can't either. I'm just going with having watched a lot of Clipper basketball and that they liked to put him there last year when they got short previous times. Because I don't consider him much of a play.
Yeah.
I haven't put the time in to go back and look at, okay, these guys were out and who did they roll out at the 3? I just have the general impression that, Doc was really comfortable playing him at the 3 next to 2 guards. And, with Bradley gone, just all those minutes, and they're going to start Beverly and Shea, and presumably Gallo and Motley and Montrez, possibly.
Just got announced. SGA, Bev, Thornwell, Gallo, Harrell.
Thornwell. There it is. Okay. So you'll have that's even better for your ownership on Motley, by the way, who will back up the 4 and the 5, and now will be like 7% on. So yeah.
And I think that's what's keeping it down a lot.
I'm into it. They gave the start to Thornwell, which was the other option. I was basically saying I liked both of those guys more than Robinson, but those were the 2 guys they ran at the 3 a ton last year. Jerome, they're a little more comfortable keeping around at the 2 there. So even though he's been playing more than Thornwell or Wallace, so. But anyhow, yeah, don't Sindarius Thornwell. Assuming he is the absolute minimum of $10 or $3,000. I would still have none, but it's not approaching the realm of incredulity that he gets, 28 minutes at absolute minimum price on a pretty short slate. So I can't totally savage Thornwell at this point, but I would have none alongside either of those other guys. He's just not a good fantasy basketball player. He is below the, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot his name. Backup power forward for the Pacers. TJ Leaf. Whew, scary.
He's below Kyle Quinn.
He's one of the guys below. Also, did not get moved today. He's one of the guys below the TJ Leaf line of fantasy inadequacy, and against the Pacers, I will project him for somewhere just shy of 0.6 fantasy points a minute today. So, put in your minutes projection. If you give him 30 minutes, 15.6 fantasy points is still not very appealing. So, I'm not going to play any of those guys. But anyhow, yeah. So. I will certainly take what's now a bit more of a risk with Motley, though I would have been surprised if he actually did get the start. I like Gallo on DK, 6,000. There's obviously, this team has to put together some sort of offense. So Lou Williams will take half the shots.
Yes, he will.
And then,
we got a question in YouTube chat, and I think it's kind of relevant for right now. Can I run Motley and Harrell together? Yes, you can.
You can run anyone who costs 3,000x and anyone together.
Yes.
It's literally, there's almost never a time I'll be like, whoa, you have this. There are really rare, on a big slate where Bam Adebayo is at his minimum and you're like, can I run Bam and Whiteside? It's still, the answer is still yes, because even in the scenario where you got 24 minutes out of each of them, or 28 out of Whiteside and 20 out of Bam, he could still savage a 3,000x price tag. So the answer to that question will almost always be yes, and certainly in this situation.
Yeah, it's way less about how the players play together and more about salary than anything else. Yeah, as the salary goes up, that's when you start thinking about how they work together. But when there's somebody that's in the 3,000s, it's not relevant.
Yeah, $3,200 Motley or whatever he is, and $10. By the way, small forward on Yahoo, which is the absolute most pain in the balls position, and minimum price $10. So, and it won't be owned enough because Maybe this will turn out where we're wrong. This feels a little less sure than it did a little while ago. Delgado came up, not starting, which I didn't expect, but seemed possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to go with my gut here. I still think he sees a metric pile of minutes. I'm sticking with 29 minutes.
So you mentioned Miles Turner. I am on the same page as you. I think he looks downright fantastic today. 6,500 on DraftKings is just, in my opinion, silly for what he's been playing. And I'm hoping that his most recent game log is what's keeping his ownership down, because he played 22 minutes because the Pacers beat the brakes off of the Lakers.
Yeah, and they pulled the pants off the Lakers. It'll be interesting to see how that team rallies today. That's the really interesting game for me. There's so many interesting things. Like there's LeBron and Kyrie on the court together. There's the Lakers,
KG's at the game wearing a Rondo jersey right now.
Really? See, that's incredible. Rondo is incredible. I love Rondo. FanDuel Rondo? 6,100 Rondo?
Yeah.
Come on, Rondo. Going back home, he's a guy who likes to hold a grudge. I'm
That's an understatement.
Yeah, exactly. I like Rondo a lot. My biggest issue is I'm trying to find guys on the other team, because on FanDuel I really kind of want to run like Rondo, LeBrondo, we'll call it. I kind of think that's interesting. FanDuel pricing a bit specifically. See, and that sigh is what everyone's doing about LeBron. That's why I'm pretty excited.
Oh, that sigh is just that sigh is for this slate and how many different moving parts we have right now.
Yeah, but it's always frustrating, but it's so good. The more moving parts, the more advantaged smart people are. If it just turns into, everything's fairly intuitive, no one can win. The house wins. If you can't count the deck in blackjack, you can't win.
I hope my house wins tonight.
I hope your house wins too. I got no dukes. So
no, I meant my house is in Osimo. Our site. I also hope that I win personally too.
Yeah, we're Adam's had a couple big days recently, so I don't know if you have. So it's your turn. A lot of the stuff we're getting.
Adam has had we think that the horseshoe fell out of his ass recently, but it's been jammed up there pretty deep.
Well, there's a lot of room.
So you mentioned LeBron. We got to talk about the Lakers because nothing happened outside of Zubac.
Yes, yay.
Does that make you like JaVale today?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, just the matchup is not dreadful, and it's a 6-game slate, and it ends up being site dependent. But DraftKings, you get 2 centers. Now my problem is my first cash and tournament builds probably have Miles Turner and Karl Anthony Towns in them. So it's really hard for me to just find a spot to put JaVale McGee in there.
Yeah, that Towns guy is in a pretty decent spot today, huh?
Yeah, that's an above average spot, and he's just too cheap on DK. Rose is still out, and all. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, he's just too cheap on DK. I'm curious what we have him projected for. I bet it's 20, and I'd want 30 or 40.
Towns?
Yeah.
Try on 16.
Uh-huh.
Now, I will say this in defense of our ownership projections. This is probably the hardest day of the year to do it.
Yeah, I'm not. My wasn't. I think they're wrong. My guess was 20, so I'm 4% different from the projection, and yeah, I'll get up on top of that. I mean, it's a very deep position.
Yeah,
but I'm a big fan of running the 2, hybrids at your 4-5s where you're playing Horford, who I like at his price, or Rob, or Jaren Jackson Jr., who I prefer to Rob, by the way. Might as well get out in front of that one.
Interesting. Okay. Rob being quite chalky today.
Well, there you have it. I don't mind Rob. He is well priced. He should cost somewhere around 6K or something. But Jaren Jackson Jr. has more of an upside. Rob is not as good as he appeared in that last game. And again, I was all up over his dick before that last game. But ownership and price. So you're telling me I can play only one player in a lineup, it's him or Jaren Jackson Jr. I'll take Jaren Jackson Jr. He does more things. Rob's matchup is pretty scary. So there's Rob gets in foul trouble. Jaren Jackson Jr. will play out the string at center. Now, obviously, Triple J can get himself in some foul trouble without any help from anyone else.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure that he could work his way back into that too if Rob does it. So
yeah, but on DK, 5,100 for Rob is nice. I will come up with the $900 and get, I'm guessing, not even close to half owned Jaren Jackson Jr.
This is so much fun. I love it. What a great day in the NBA.
Every day is a great day in the NBA, but yeah, it's pretty exceptional.
So we were talking LeBron there. We talked about Rondo a little bit, 6,100 on FanDuel. Also, just fantastic.
That's a brilliant price. Like that's too cheap. I understand LeBron's back, and Boston for most non-alien human beings would be a bad matchup. But
Kawhi is out, maybe?
Pardon?
Kawhi out.
Wow. Okay. Well, that changes the whole slate. Okay, so now start pulling everything out, and now it's Lowry and Pascal and Ibaka, and they'll start Fred now at the 2. Probably they'll start Fred and Danny. There's no Delon anymore, so that'll push their minutes up. There's no CJ anymore. So yeah, your whole priorities changed. The game's now more likely to stay close against Atlanta, who, by the way, only lost by 3 in Toronto.
I watched that whole game.
It was a good game.
It was ridiculous. I watched every single second of that game.
Yeah, now, especially with 40 minutes left and people not going what's on, your priority is to get Atlanta guys in there. With a knee injury for Kawhi. I'm going to have to do some research on that one when we're done.
Yeah. Hello, NBA. That's great. Fantastic.
It really is. It's just more of an advantage. So start yanking out, FanDuel. Just start yanking one out. But when you're done with that, Marcus Morris, I was a big fan of on FanDuel. He was too cheap. His minutes do portend to be a little bit higher when LeBronathan is out there as one of the guys they like to use to defend him. They have a number of guys they can throw at him, which is one of the nice things about that team, that when the opposing team has one solid wing, they're pretty good at defense.
I love that in the first 6 seconds of this video being live, I say, at least we're probably not going to get any news.
Yeah, so, Lowry comes in now. FanDuel's interesting for me because I really like Pat Beverly and Rajon Rondo. Well, one of you should probably become Lowry now if at all possible. Without Kawhi against the Hawks. Actually, we had that, didn't we? Let me think. We had that. We did.
Yeah.
They've played the Hawks twice this year, and one time I'm pretty sure Kawhi was out, and Lowry put up like a 65 burger. Seems to be pretty sure that already occurred once. They've played twice this year. I remember that. The last time was the close one, and I know Kawhi played.
How much Pat McCaw do we get today?
No, God. No.
They're down CJ kilometers and DeLon Wright and Jonas and Kawhi.
Yeah, you're going to get some. Just Pat McCaw is not that good. I think you get, top of my head, I'm trying to bounce everything. I think you get 22 minutes of Pat McCaw now.
Yeah, I just typed in 18, just trying to give people their base before I see what I got at totals.
Yeah, that is the range, but So let's look at some. Wow. Okay.
This is fun, man. This is so much fun.
Yeah, so let me see if there's any other parties I want to get to before we get into that. I like Lillard slightly more than Kyrie on both sites, although at this point I like Lowry more than both of them.
Yes. So, yeah, give your full on Raptors thoughts right now. I'm updating minutes so that I can push projections out. But yeah, I'm here to converse as well.
I already updated my my rankings twice. I put my rankings in 3 times today, which is 2 times more than I normally do it. That's what she said. So. DK prices. I wouldn't play Kawhi. #analysis. Lowry at 7,100 is the best. After that, I go back and forth on this. In this particular matchup, I will slightly prefer Teague is out also. So try not to get rid of your Towns and making all these other changes. But yeah, change your Jaren Jackson Juniors into Ibaka's or Pascal's. Those guys really should be projected almost identically. I will generally, for the ownership, probably prefer Pascal, who tends to end up a couple points under. Fred gets very tolerable, and if you're, making a double swap to make this work, going Fred and Lowry like on FanDuel is not impossible. He's the next guy we'd look at. I really don't care much for Danny Green still. does not do a lot for me as far as the Danny Green score goes. But yeah, those are the guys to really target. But that again is 4 of the other 5 starters. So basically the non-Danny Green starters. It's a pretty juicy spot. I mean, we're in Atlanta. Hopefully they can keep this game close. But do we just play Lowry and do we play? Did you get that comment? If you're there,
I'm here. Why do people keep saying Lowry out? Yeah, Lowry's not out, guys. Just Leonard.
If Lowry is out, I have no evidence of it thus far.
Yeah, I'm deleting every comment that keep people of people saying that stuff in the YouTube chat.
He is out.
Do we play Lowry and Fred VanVleet together or just Lowry? I mean, Lowry's the guy that I go to first.
Yeah, Lowry should be your. I have to find a way to get him into my lineup.
Yeah.
But it's really good for Pascal and Serge as well, and it moves Fred from a really borderline play to a pretty solid one now, who's going to play 33 minutes and start against the Hawks. So certainly a boost for him, put mildly. I'm just futzing with the various lineups I had looked at earlier today. 26 on FanDuel for Lowry, so or on Yahoo rather. So that's a fine number. That feels pretty good.
This is exciting stuff. No more Lowry. Okay, does that change your thought process on Russell Westbrook, Paul George, or LeBron?
Yeah, I'm probably much less interested in them now, where I imagine my first lineup build on a lot of sites would be Jonathan Motley, Kyle Lowry, 1 or 2 other of those Raptors, Miles Turner, Karl Anthony Towns, and then see what the hell is sitting there. Yeah. So I'm less likely to get to those guys for that reason. There's just a greater likely, like the matchup is not good for Westbrook or George. They kind of have each other. The price of George on DK is really nice, but both their prices really significant on FanDuel. And again, Westbrook's a point guard where I want to be playing Kyle Lowry and Dude. And I'm very happy with Beverly at his price. I'm very happy with Rondo at his price. So really hard to, bounce those guys who I think all have really nice ceiling and get up there. And like, I'd even have to sit there a while and be like, whether I'm more excited about, Collison or Westbrook. It's a fine spot for Westbrook. I project him for, 65, but I probably at this point project Kyle Lowry for 48 or something. So it just doesn't math out right. So yeah, I think especially on the sites where you have more flexibility, it's a lot harder to rationalize getting to those guys. I mean, this is you'd project Ibaka and Siakam both for in the neighborhood of 40 now.
I've got them both at 35 right now,
I
can easily go higher than that.
Yeah, I would think. I don't know if you're talking minutes or points.
Oh, minutes.
Right, I meant points.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, you never. I mean, they're thin.
No, exactly. But I meant points, and that's not. I think really crazy. And if you're saying you think they play 35 minutes, well, I think they're both good for better than a point a minute against the Hawks. So
yeah.
1.1 would be 38 and a half. So
I mean, Ibaka's been smash city when from points per minute.
And also, by the way, 22 on Yahoo for Ibaka, who they've perennially priced way under what he should be priced at.
Yeah.
So yeah, things.
So what does that make you like about Atlanta?
It's definitely Atlanta was not a team I was super interested in targeting. Now they have been less stupid with the minutes. Still a little bit stupid, but less stupid with the minutes recently, where they're falling down into running a much more reasonable 10-man rotation. But I'm a little more interested in Taurean Prince or Kevin Huerter at this point. Probably Prince now for me at like $4,700 Prince. You like Trae Young a little bit more. The odds of the game staying close obviously have significantly. I'm not playing OG Anunoby. Okay. He's just not a good fantasy basketball player. This always happens when you get quiet. People are like, what about OG? I'm like, he's just not good.
No.
Like, they're missing lots of dudes. You may get 32 minutes now, and it's the Hawks, so it's not insane. But, like, I'm hoping if he plays 32 minutes, I get 30. And if Jonathan Motley plays 32 minutes, I think he gets me 38 or 36 or a better number than OG Anunoby. So OG Anunoby obviously not out of play. Now I'd have him over Delgado. I'd have him over those random, the scrub guards we were talking about on the Clippers. I'm not saying you can't play OG, but much, much, much lower priority than, even $1,000 more for Fred VanVleet is much more exciting for me than $3,500 for the OG.
We got a question. What about Lowry, Ibaka, Pascal, stacking them on FanDuel? Depends what you're playing.
Right. Like, in cash, I think it's wondrous. I have no issue with it whatsoever. I literally like it. So in cash, knock yourself out. Between 2 and 3 of those players will be very good at their prices.
Yes.
So just, knock yourself out. Go ahead and do that. In tournaments, I probably prefer 2 because, FanDuel, they're all priced expensively enough where I'm really hoping that, the 2 I play get me 90 or something like that, or 95. Playing all 3 and hoping they put up the 140. Can that happen? Absolutely. And if you do that, please play Trae Young or play John Collins. Or actually, you couldn't play John Collins if you played all 3 of those guys, because on FanDuel, both Ibaka and Pascal are power forwards.
That's a good point.
But that note aside, yeah. So, yep. But yeah, play. Let me check their prices on FanDuel, because Lowry I know is 79, Ibaka 67. Pascal 65. That's interesting. That'll keep the ownership much closer to each other, I would think. But yeah, this is yeah. I mean, I'm lineup footsing a little bit, but yeah, I now have
both.
I have. Okay, I'm not actually entering anything. I'm just toying around with the changes I make. But what I find myself doing a lot is, taking those other, on FanDuel is taking those other point guards I liked a lot and finding ways to yeah, and don't forget to get your Kawhi out. I know this sounds ridiculous, but
and I really liked Dame Lillard earlier today, and now I'm really anxious to see what everything I do looks like after I take a different look at this, because now Fred VanVleet looks fantastic, and obviously Kyle Lowry is now fantastic, and like VanVleet's 4,400. He's been playing 32 plus minutes, and every time Kawhi Leonard is out, there's no right now, so like I expect him to do that unless they're going to be giving Jordan Lloyd 25 minutes tonight for some reason. I don't know. Yeah,
no, I totally agree with you. I really like Bojan too.
Yeah,
usually my second favorite Bogdanovic, but I really enjoy Bojan in that matchup, in that spot. Gallo, even slightly hampered back Gallo or something, and Bojan's just taking a lot of shots and usually paying off that price, especially on FanDuel. I still really like having some Bojan, and there isn't really a good Raptor to throw in there now.
What a wild day. I love it.
That's great. But this is great. I just think you're hugely advantaged here. Not enough people will move on that. You're going to get Motley at like 0 goddamn ownership. So yeah, I am a fan.
Okay.
Checking their prices everywhere. Ibaka 63. Pascal's like 62 on DK, right? He's 62. Sorry. Excited. Would I prefer Norman Powell or Danny Green? At position and price, I probably prefer Norman Powell. I would project Danny Green for more fantasy points, but I would rather play Norman Powell. If that translates. Like Danny Green is still going to get me somewhere between 15 and 30 probably, and meh. I can hope to get towards the top side, and Danny Green's like 4K, and then Hawks feels good, but especially because now I'm very inclined to play other Raptors, there's some negative correlation there. Like I don't want Danny Green scoring well today. I want the under-owned Pascal and Ibaka and Lowry to get 50 apiece if I was building a pile of lineups. So I imagine I'd be disinclined towards Danielson. I mean, I don't love Norm Powell, but he's probably my 5th favorite guy after those 4 starters of note. So he would come before Danny Green for me, yeah.
All right, so what haven't we touched on that is now super relevant? We have games. I guess we need to walk our way through Oklahoma City and Memphis due to the amount of bodies that are out for the Memphis side. Feel free to use your own discretion, public, on how you feel about Oklahoma City. They are the same team they are every other day. Memphis, on the other hand, no Gasol, no more JaMychal Green, no more Shelvin Mack. Who stands out here for you?
I think Conley will be the forgotten man.
Yeah.
There's an enormous upside there. I mean, we saw 50 out of him in the last game, and there's no reason he can't see that again. It's really tough because I just like Toronto so much now. I mean, my favorite Grizzly all day was Jaren Jackson Jr. I think it was going to be owned too low for just a guy who carried a massive upside and was in a spot now where he was much more likely to get there. There was obviously, a downside, but at this point, I prefer Ibaka and Siakam to him because now they have similar upsides, much less the hell likely to foul out. Going to be chalky-er, and I'm still fine with Jaren, as I imagine he's less owned than both those players when we actually tip this bad boy off. But Rob ends up being very site dependent. Yahoo 15 is obviously spectacular.
Yeah.
He again, center is always busted. Yahoo is also 22 for Ibaka and 25 for Miles Turner and 12 for JaVale McGee. And so, I mean, all the centers are spectacular on Yahoo. So it's obviously Rob the least sexy on FanDuel. And
6,300 is tough.
Yeah, I mean, I would try to do something different. Again, the matchup for him is really difficult. So
I think the Kawhi news makes me like Ivan Robb more.
Yeah, I think your thought process there is good.
Because that ownership's going to crater.
It's going to come down. I don't know about crater. I still think on DK you're going to be surprised at how high that number is. But I think you still get 30 on DK or some number like that. I think that sticks pretty high. We'll see. Maybe not, but that's just my suspicion.
I mean, if Ivan Robb is projected 35 and Jaren Jackson is projected for 15, you should all know what to do in that scenario.
Yeah,
they are not separated by that much money.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you talk about the Pascal and Ibaka and Jaren Jackson Jr. That's the really interesting position. It's really interesting that Pascal and Ibaka hurt each other's ownership.
Yeah.
Is really interesting for me. And unfortunately on DK, Motley, who's my favorite value, is, I believe, power forward center. So you have to give one of your Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka, Karl Anthony Towns spots to him, which is fine. You don't need to play all those guys. But, yeah. And that's fine. You play Lowry in one of them.
I think we've hit all the teams that had relevant news.
Yeah. I really like Kyrie. I want to go back to just saying,
yeah.
He does carry a massive upside. I think I slightly prefer Lillard at his price and what I think should be a little lower ownership, though I imagine it ends up being site dependent. But
speaking of ownership, it is now updated for everyone that is looking for it.
Cool. Let's do it. Let's do a quick daddy like that.
Okay. How do I do it? What's the process?
You start at the top. You basically start at the top dude and say, "This dude, this percent. Do you like it?" And then I either do or not, and then you do that till you get to like the fifth dude, and then we go back to taking questions.
All right, we've got Fred VanVleet, the top of the heap, 56. Daddy like?
No, 56. Look, I like Fred VanVleet, and but he goes into the starting lineup, which actually costs him some usage. And the minutes come up nicely now. He's going to get his 32, 33 minutes, but 56, no, I want less than that in tournaments. Daddy does not like it at 56. He's obviously fine to play, but
looks great in cash.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's brilliant in cash. It's brilliant. You can play him next to Lowry on FanDuel. Knock them both in there.
Yeah. Ivan Robb, 36.
Yeah. Again, I'll probably come under that at this point, again, due to the positionality, wanting to find that spot for Motley, and Turner, Siakam, Towns, Ibaka, all the other guys I'm trying to get in there and play at the bigs. And again, there's plenty of other, bigs I have interest in, certainly in tournaments like Vooch, because if Towns' dumb price is going to be 200 owned, but he's certainly not out of play. Al Horford is power forward center. That can certainly work out. I don't particularly like the matchup for Aldridge. I would probably rather play DeRozan between those two guys tonight in a tournament. I'd rather play Aldridge in cash.
Okay.
But he's power forward center. So those big spots are now very coveted. But and for that reason, and being chalky and just other guys, like even if Rob is good, let's say Rob gets you 35, I'm not sure that gets you there. There's just a real chance that there's 8 other guys who play power forward center who get 50 or more.
Yeah.
Or 6 other guys who play forward center and get 50 or more. So it's like, value is nice and everything, but you needed to have 4 of the 6 of Turner, Siakam, Towns, Motley, Siakam, Ibaka, whatever. I won't go down the list again. But so generally disinclined towards that. He is too cheap. He should cost $6,000 or something. But that is a very tough matchup for Rob. If he's going to be that popular, I will look elsewhere.
Okie dokie. Next, Serge Ibaka, 37%.
Yeah. See, for that reason, I will pony up the $200 and try to play. Or no, actually, it's less on DK. Sorry, you save money playing Pascal. So I'll play Pascal at that point. I end up with them being pretty similar in this situation. That being said, I'd have more than 37% Serge Ibaka at this point.
Okay.
So Daddy likes.
Damian Lillard, 32%.
Lower because Lowry exists now. There's no way I could quite justify it, I don't think. So lower.
And then we've got two more in the same tier. Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, 32% and 29%.
Okay, well, that's good that people are doing that enough. But yeah, I would want more than 30% on those core Toronto guys. Yeah. And less on, I mean, there's I like Fred VanVleet. And he's obviously really too cheap. That being said, I have him projected not that differently now from, say, Justin Holiday, who's going to be, 12% owned and has a real upside where he has to take a million shots. I like finding some exposure to Lou. Lou could just do dumb shit here. Like people like Lou, obviously the price is high, but wherever you're playing him, Lou can throw up 65 in this situation really easily. Like 35 minutes and 29 shots out of Lou Williams would not surprise me in the least. No. I would project him for like 34 minutes and 23 shots or something.
If you told me that he played 34 minutes and took one every minute, I'd be like, yeah, it seems like the type of thing that Lou
I wouldn't be shocked to see 30 shots. Like we've seen 30 shots out of a number of players this year.
Yeah.
Where Donovan Mitchell had that one game where he had 35 shots and an assist or no assists or something. Like he had the most ball hockey, the most Kobe of Kobe games. He went out there and had that one time, and the next day was like, yeah, that was not cool. I don't know what that was. I just shot every time. I was like, okay.
Yeah, he was like, I need to pass more. That was a mistake.
It was really funny. He's like, I need to pass. Everyone was like, yes, you do. I'm glad you noticed that because we were out here thinking, I haven't touched the ball in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that Dame Lillard ownership now is what I was looking to have.
Yeah.
No longer feeling as keen on it. That's for sure.
Yeah. The best play of the Raptors is going to be Kyle Lowry.
I would imagine. I mean, he's the guy I want every time they say Kawhi Leonard is out. Him and Ibaka are my two.
Yeah. He has been only decent, and one time was even disappointing recently with him out. Now again, they're not on any kind of back-to-back. I think Lowry's health is pretty good right now. It could not, but boy, it feels safe, and like I'd project him for somewhere in the 45 to whatever range. It's just. He's just too good. I'd have him projected like 5 or 6 points over the forwards and centers between Serge and Siakam there.
Like I'm gonna need to make a couple adjustments because we have Kyrie Irving at 22% expected ownership. We have Mike Conley at 5.
Yeah,
and I like Kyrie quite a bit, but that feels like a place to make a pivot to increase exposure.
Yeah, I totally agree. Anyone who watched that last game, Conley was just transcendent. Yeah. And just, when the game got close, he was just like, oh, I'm going to do some shit now. Watch out. Like it was, which was really cool to see, honestly. But I at that number, certainly. I'm curious what he costs on Yahoo.
You might beat me, but we'll see.
Oh, it's a race. I hope I win.
35.
Yeah, Lowry is 26. Just like
that one is just
Lillard's 38. That's pretty good.
We have Lillard ahead of Kyle Lowry. Like that's just craziness.
That won't end that way. There's no way people can't do it. On Yahoo. If that's what we're talking about, there's no way people.
Oh no! That one, that's not happening.
Yeah, but No, Lowry will be somewhere around 50%. I imagine there on Yahoo.
Aaron Gordon getting some love too. 24%.
Shouldn't. There's absolutely no way you can justify Aaron Gordon over Pascal, Serge, all these other guys. Like I'd have him like 7th at power forward now or something. He'd come after them. He'd come after Horford for me in this spot. He'd still be in there over Aldridge, but first, second, third, fourth. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like a horrific matchup. I like it as a little bit more as a matchup for Vooch, which there is a bit of a yin and yang between those two guys. So, Gordon was fine. And if you're building, 150 lineups, by all means, have 10 Aaron Gordons. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But like 24%, I think, just does not math out correctly for me. There's no way you can tell me that like that against I would just have him projected for 5 or 6 less than either of the guys on Toronto.
I do not disagree. I'm making my last little tweaks. I'm hoping that when I click my little solve button here, that could be the end of it all for me.
Does Daddy like McCollum on FanDuel?
Dude's been playing a little bit different lately, huh?
Yeah, he's getting a little more time, a little more usage, putting up. I certainly don't mind him. Shooting guard is, you can overpay for Lou Will. You can kind of overpay for Justin Holiday, is in a really solid spot, but there's no one on FanDuel at shooting guard I love. I would rather play either DeRozan or Lou Williams at their prices than McCollum by just a little bit. But I don't hate it. I like it a lot as a Lillard spot. And they're just, I expect him to be even more susceptible to Lillard. So I do think he calls the number 1 here quite a bit for himself. So for that reason, I'm a little less inclined towards McCollum, but it's a shit position. So shooting guard on FanDuel is $8,200 Lou Williams. May very well be my favorite, but still $8,200 Lou Williams. Like you're going for 50 now. Like you're asking for something. 79 for DeRozan, who's obviously been sketchy recently. McCollum at 75. Evan Fournier at 6 doesn't feel great. Andrew Wiggins at 6 doesn't really feel great. Teagout helps a little bit. You feel a little better. Terrence Ross at 55 is fine. Justin Holiday at 55, I probably like more because dude's going to play 40 minutes. Marcus Smart at 54, doesn't feel wonderful. Hoarder in a difficult matchup at 53. Dennis Schroeder at 52, I kind of like. Maybe that's the next guy for me. But shooting guard is a lot of guys who are very meh at their price. $4,200 Danny Green appeals to me a lot on FanDuel because I don't like anyone else. And so when I don't like anyone at a position, I'm perfectly happy to spend as little money as possible at that position.
For sure.
So for that reason, I don't like CJ McCollum as a play, but he would still rank somewhere between 3rd and 11th at the position, and I'd really have to look at it for a while. So he's just fine. If he slots in and you're going to go there and you don't have any Lillard, sure.
All right, let's hit you with a couple questions. You ready?
Cool. I'm ready when you are. Let's do it.
Got to go with a good one. Bruno Caboclo or Davis Bertans in a FanDuel GPP?
I will go with Caboclo. It's FanDuel, so defensive stats are something that he really can do. Where he's not as, Bird is a little more of a shooter. His game is a little less tailored towards, FanDuel. You're not getting a 3-point bonus and things of that nature. And again, while it's going to be the opposite of the shit show we had yesterday for the Spurs, you've got everybody back there. So we like Davis because you still have Derek White out. And, that is going to solidify his role. But I'd probably slightly prefer Caboclo if they were the exact same price.
Okay. Can you play 4 Raptors on FanDuel, or is that too many? If you're playing cash, I think there's a
cash. It's probably correct, believe it or not. Like cash 3 at least is going to be correct. Like just points per dollar expected. Can you play 4 in a tournament? I'd really want to run it back with a Hawk. I don't think it's ideal. I think it's very likely that the number of Raptors in the best possible. But if you ask me right now, what's the number of Raptors in the winning FanDuel tournament lineup tonight? What do I think the most likely integer is? I think my most likely guess would be 2.
Yep.
Followed by 3, followed by 1, followed by 4, followed by 0.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yep. I would like 4 Raptors in a GPP lineup if this were a 4-game slate.
Right. Exactly. The fewer games, the more likely that the preponderance of scoring into one. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. JaVale or Rob in a Yahoo GPP? Try to get a little, JaVale love the Yahoo here today.
That's good. It's they're giving money. JaVale is 12. Rob is 15. Just raw points per dollar. I would go with Rob. That being said, I'm really trying to play $22 Serge Ibaka and $25 Miles Turner. Just for what it's worth. So I don't think those guys are good enough on that scale, just because both those guys very possibly get you 40, 50 something, and Rob has shown he can do that, but I don't think that's the most likely scenario here. And I just don't think you need to save there. There's just better savings places than at center where I really think you want to guarantee yourself two big ass numbers. So I'm a little more inclined towards getting at least to the mid tier there for what should be your two centers on Yahoo. Okay. But probably prefer Rob at 15 to JaVale at
12. Okay. Surge or Jaren Jackson Jr. on FanDuel?
Without knowing the rest of your lineup, I can't answer that, really.
Yeah.
In a vacuum, I think Serge Ibaka is a better play right now as far as just points expectancy.
Yes.
But if he would be your only Raptor, then Serge by a light year. If you already have Pascal and Lowry and Fred, then I'd probably play Jaren Jackson.
Lowry, Van Vliet, Green, Siakam, Ibaka. Those are your starters for today.
Yep, as expected.
Yep. Well, there were tweets going around saying that Nick Nurse said he was going to mix up the starting lineup today because of everything.
When Kawhi went out, the probably that kind of tied his hands. Like there weren't a ton of better options for him, but
they could have started like OG or something stupid if they wanted to today. But
sure. Certainly, if it was going to happen today, would be the day for a somewhat random lineup.
True story.
Sure. So I feel that.
Alrighty, what else we ate today?
John Isaac,
yeah, he plays for sure.
John Simmons is out, so I mean that's not irrelevant for him.
I can't even. I don't remember even noticing that John Isaac played today, so he should smash now. Okay, so Collison, Lou Will, and Isaac, or Rondo, DDR, and Gallo. Oh God!
In tournaments, the second one for me.
It's a GPP.
Yeah,
FanDuel,
I would go with the second one. I'm generally avoiding a lot of Portland. I want to bring that up real quick because I've just got two different questions by Twitter. So Rodney Hood is going to muck things up a little. I don't know how much. I don't know how that time at the 4 gets shared between a recently kind of impressive Jake Layman and Mo Harkless and Evan Turner and Rodney Hood, for whom that should be his natural position. They got rid of Wade and Stauskas, which is nice, but there's still, obviously Steph and CJ and Seth and everyone else. Like that rotation is going to get a little derfed, and I'm not super thrilled with the matchup. So I like Lillard. I have Lillard projected for about 50. Lillard feels pretty good to me. Outside of that, it's not a good matchup for Nurk, and I don't really know how the minutes are going to sort of amortize at the other positions, and I don't really feel the need to try to do it. So that's sort of very, very vague, but that's sort of my much like my San Antonio take last night, which was 10 times as wrong, and basically was like, just don't play people on this team. I think it's going to explode. I don't think it's quite that bad. Adding Rodney Hood doesn't help, but playing against San Antonio is not particularly conducive for production for anyone outside of Lillard, in my opinion, on this team. You play this game out a lot of times. I think that is a negative matchup for everyone but Lillard, probably. So, Dame works for me. Other than that, disinclined.
Here's a question for you. We have Dame Lillard at 32%, as we talked about. We have Lou Williams at 8%.
Oh, I vastly prefer Lou Williams.
Yeah,
at that point.
Yeah, that's it's just something that caught my eye right now. Because
it's very relevant. Yeah, I have Lou Williams projected for 40 fantasy points.
Yeah,
which is, not quite enough to make me super super happy. And again, I have Damian Lillard projected for 50 fantasy points. I think it's a really nice spot for Dame. But you also save $1,000 on DK.
Yeah.
Right? It's 86 and 77, 74. You save 1,200. Yeah. So, yeah. No,
that's super appealing.
I'm looking at my DK GPP lineup right now that I fiddle with all day, and currently it has Lou in it and Aldridge out, and Lillard out, who I had in there all day. So among the other changes to free up money to get more Raptors in there and stuff, that was a move I happily made without actually having noticed that was the ownership differential. So. Feels good.
Harrell and Turner. Oh, that's not what this question is. DK GPP, Harrell, Turner, or Ibaka?
Again, their ownerships probably have me playing Miles Turner, but I want to make sure I have at least
don't.
8.
They have you playing Montrezl Harrell.
What do we have, Harrell at like 10?
4.
Yeah, okay, I'll play Harrell.
Turner at 20.
Wow.
Ibaka at, 37?
30, whatever.
Yeah. If you're playing in a GPP, it's naturally Montrezl Harrell there.
Yep.
They just those guys aren't going to beat those guys by that many multiples.
Is he forward eligible too?
Who?
Montrez.
I can only imagine that he's power forward center. They give everybody 2 positions. If Harrell is the first, one of the lone guys that doesn't have it,
it's really relevant today because he is.
Yeah.
Because you have a couple really good pure centers in Turner and Towns.
Yeah.
So that does factor into the decision a little bit.
Alrighty, I think I am set to jam my lineups in.
All right, you go ahead and jam. I'm gonna.
It's a 5-second task. I can keep asking you questions. We've got 6 minutes to go, so barring any news right now, which I'm probably jinxing myself with, we can just keep doing exactly what we're doing. Joakim Noah available to play if needed.
The fuck does that mean?
I mean, he's clearly needed.
Grizzlies going to waive Omri Caspi.
Oh, great.
Word is that Kyle Anderson and Joakim Noah will be active tonight only in emergency situation. Without them, they have 8 players, counting the two ways, and a 10-day, and 2 rookies. So they have 3 non-rookie players. Got it.
This feels like the Grizzlies a year ago, or
and
2 years ago.
Yes, there's been a couple interesting ones there. So Noah will be available in emergency. I mean, that is a boost for Rob at this point. He is going to play 40 minutes minus whatever the hell foul trouble shit happens.
Fire up your Yuta Watanabes. This is basketball, though.
He is available to play.
He better be, because they're running out of people that are available to play.
That's interesting. I mean, it is not a good matchup. People are going to play Joakim Noah too, based on some really poorly worded fantasy labs tweeting there.
Come on, make sure that I don't have him.
Step your game up, Justin. That's a poorly worded tweet. Joakim Noah available to play if needed. Well, he's clearly needed, but yeah. I think you may want to reword that if JP Hand, if you're watching, maybe in the event of emergency might be a better way to phrase that one.
Yeah, they were already putting Kyle Anderson in break in case of emergency, and this shit is an emergency.
I really want to. I wish I had better graphic art skills because I would have drawn up a really cool thing right now with Kyle Anderson and Joakim Noah behind a glass thing. Like, in case of emergency.
Oh man, this is wild. I don't know what the Grizzlies. I feel like they're gonna have to forfeit at the half.
It's also not a team in which it would be incredibly impossible to imagine them getting into some foul trouble. So we may get on the earlier show I alluded to you the Robert Sacre game where they ran out of players and they were in that situation where you know what happens in an NBA game when you have 5 players and 1 fouls out.
I used to know. Now I don't remember. Now
you continue the game, and whenever they commit a foul, you get an extra free throw. Yes, basically a technical is added onto the stack, which I guess.
Oh man, now I'm nervous that I only have 35% Ivan Robb.
Yeah, I would be. That is significant. It was obviously a possibility all day long.
I have no confidence in the Grizzlies, but feel free to grab them, people. You're obviously doing that already per our ownership projections.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The NBA, it's fantastic, people. I've said it a couple times. I'm saying it again.
Fantastic.
We've been given a gift today. Am I avoiding Russ and PG today is a question to me, but we can pose that, across the board. I really don't have these guys.
I'm not avoiding them. They just don't naturally arrive anymore. They don't make sense as points plays.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Grizzlies available are Conley, Holiday, Washburn, Robb, Jackson Jr., who, by the way, will be the starters, Carter, Caboclo, Watanabe. So you'll have, I still like all those dudes. But, both Caboclo and Watanabe can play some forward. Jaren can play center, so definitely could be pretty interesting in the event of foul trouble. If the glass does have to be broken, if you hear the glass, it's your ass, basically.
Yeah, I guess I got to update these minutes and Would you project Joakim Noah for any minutes tonight?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then, how many minutes do you think Yuta Watanabe plays?
26.
Yeah,
I think is what I'm
Jesus.
looking at right now. Yeah.
I always love late swap optimizing at 7:01 for no reason other than just nonsense.
Yeah, it feels good.
Miles Turner or Siakam, raw points.
Siakam.
Yeah. That one's tight for me.
Me too.
How many minutes? Jaren Jackson's going to pick up 5 fouls in 4 minutes or something crazy
It's
tonight.
going to get really squirrely if he does.
It's already squirrely, I think.
Yes, definitely. Squirrels will be involved. Can't sleep. Squirrels will eat you.
All right. I just for those that are premium members, projections are being updated now to remove Noah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think 0 is correct. Good of you to be doing that rather than futzing with your own stuff.
Well, I'm not super worried about jamming in more Rob or Jackson because I'm not really comfortable in it. Obviously, they're going to play a ton of minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Thunder, they can beat them by 70 here. I know that sounds like a really ridiculous thing to say, but their defense is so good, and Memphis today is so devoid of real basketball players.
Yeah, Memphis is. All right. I'll make a gentleman's bet. Okay. Would you like to set the number for the points Memphis scores tonight, or say over under? You can pick. Would you like to set it or say over and under?
Do I want to cut the pie or pick the slice?
Yeah, exactly.
I would like to pick the slice.
Okay. I'll say 93.5.
Oh God. The practical part of me says that I should be taking the under or the over because
I'm under Vegas, I'm sure.
Yes. But I will take the under to that number.
Right. So just to give you an idea, in 2019, we're projecting a team to score 90 fantasy points.
Right. 90 real points.
90 real points. 90 fantasy points would be impressively terrible. Yeah. I don't know what the record is for that. Fewest fantasy points scored by a team, though it can be accrued. There are sites that count that. That would be a pretty amusing one to look up.
I'll tell you guys this much. If the Memphis Grizzlies win this game, I don't want to hear anybody ever talk about blowouts again in our chat. Because there has never been a game more teed up.
I love how tilted everyone gets on blowouts. Like, I never understand why that's the one thing we say we won't project. Because it's always, I've heard Laffy and Adam say, and I think they still do it, but last year used to say it all the time. Like, look, we're not in the business of projecting blowouts. I'm like, why not that? We project everything. I'm not saying project it in a binary sense. That would be asinine.
Yeah.
Being like, I'm projecting this game, and I'm going to say Kyle Lowry plays 28 minutes because they will blow out the Hawks. That's wrong.
Right.
But I'm saying if you project him for 35 minutes in a full game, I don't understand how you don't take some chance or a spectrum of chances that the game is blown out to some degree and limit his minutes based on that. Just I'm giving a very simple example. Let's say the Raptors are playing the Bucks and the line is 0. Then I think it's fine to just project Lowry's minutes and why fuck around with it. But if they're playing, let's say, the Hawks and the line was 20, and again, obviously that doesn't mean there will be a blowout. They just hosted the Hawks, and it was a 3-point goddamn game. They were favored by 15 in that game or whatever. So that's my point. I'm not saying you should ever turn around and go like, oh, they're playing the Hawks. Lowry will play 3 quarters and play 26 minutes. I'm projecting him for this. But we amortize everything else. Like we talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. Every time you talk about him, we are factoring in the chance he fouls out.
Yep.
Just the exact same kind of thing. Like this might happen. It might happen to degrees, just like a blowout. Maybe he'll get 2 fouls in the first minute. Maybe he'll get 2 fouls in the first 9 minutes. So it's always been, I've never quite understood the reason why that is apparently the one sacrosanct thing. We don't, I'm not saying predict, I don't know, I think I made my point, but I never quite understood why that was something that got landed on as a, oh, we don't take that into account. Well, we take everything else into account. Why don't we just, tweak it a little? Like, it wouldn't be real hard. You look at even if it just affects some confidence score you have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
just have another thing that's my delta, the range of outcomes I expect from this. I don't know.
Take a peek at some ownership. We're locked.
Oh yeah, that's right. Let me take a look and see what we are. All right, I'm logged in on DraftKings. I haven't been in here since the morning. The 400K deadline day special. That's sublimely better title than DraftKings usually has. Okay, here we go. Looking at ownership for just guys in this lineup. Motley, 9.4%. I could have bet any amount of money that my buddy was going to have Motley in this lineup. He's a good man and thorough. Highest owned player, Lou Williams.
Okay, how much?
21.
Okay, that's a lot higher than we were thinking.
That's less. That's twice as much as we expected. So yeah, just less. Actually, there's a pretty big glut up here. Top three, all within 1.5% rather. Lou Williams, Miles Turner, Karl Anthony Towns, all 20 to 21%. I love Towns at 20%. Obviously, I love everything else that happened here, but yeah, I'm pretty sure my optimal DK lineup was Lowry, Serge or Pascal, Motley, Towns, Turner.
Yeah, I played 43%. Karl Towns.
Yep, that's about where I imagine in 150 I would end up at. Is just too good at 9,900. Teague was ruled out, right?
Teague was ruled out, correct.
So the 17% Jared Bayless makes sense.
I thought you were saying 17% Teague. I was like, woo-wee. It's like, don't do that to me. That's exciting as shit.
There will be a lot of people playing themselves today, so we will get to that. But 17% Bayless is fine for me then. Now, I'm a bit surprised because of the existence of Lowry and Van Vliet and all these other guys. Like, I would have thought that number would have come under that for a point guard, but we shall see. AG Aaron Gordon 17%. Yeah, I would want less than that with the Raptors situation. It's not a horrific play, but we'll take those Raptors guys against the Hawks for cheaper even. Tyreek Evans 15.2. No. I mean, they don't have Wes Matthews yet, and he got more minutes last game. Didn't do much with him. Hasn't done much all year, but I guess other people were really had to hunt for value. If you didn't play Jonathan the Barber Motley, you would have. Did you get my geek reference there?
I did.
Okay. Well, we'll keep it between you and me. Andrew Wiggins, 12%. Danilo Gallinari, 12%. Yeah, I would rather gone with Gallo between those two guys at basically the exact same price and pretty similar position, actually, which is funny because those two guys are physically very different. Montrezl Harrell, 11%. So a little more than we expected. Terrence Ross, 11%. Bojan, 9.5%. I would have liked that. And there he is, Jonathan Motley, 9.45. So we will see how that works out. It's basically my whole day will hinge on whether or not we've made people a ton of money or screwed people with that one, but I like our chances. Thad Young, 8%. Vooch, 7% feels pretty good. Sabonis, 6% feels pretty good and a great leverage play. Collison, 5.5 is fine. Don't Google me, 5. Shea, 4.3 feels really good. Like, Shea's under 5K and has to play 39 goddamn minutes here. Like, I'm pretty excited about 4% Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I would have thought that number was going to be a good bit higher. Sindarius Thornwell, 3.7. Oh, boy.
On a day like today, that is just a bold move.
Bold would be a more gentle adjective than I would be implied to apply to the situation. Pat Beverly, 3.2. It's better than Sindarius Thornwell, 3.7. John Isaac, 3.15. Darius Saric, 3.1. DJ Augustine. Yeah, Saric, 2.9. Luol Deng, 1.8.
What are these people doing?
Taj Gibson, 1 point. Well, Deng in the last game, Deng and Saric played a ton of minutes and looked really good. Like, I watched that whole game, but it was not apropos of a lot, and I don't think it'll keep up. But Josh Okogie, 1 flat. Corey Joseph, 0.84, who I would like more than the 11 guys we read before him in a related story at 1%. I wouldn't like him more than Shea, but Thornwell, Isaac, Saric, Augustine, Deng, Taj, Okogie, I would like all less than Corey Joseph. Aaron Holiday, 0.83. Okay, now you're getting too cute. Kem Birch, 0.46, and we finally found him. Avery Bradley, 0.24. Congratulations, you played yourself.
Yes, you did. Of all the things to do. Get back to your computers today, people.
Yeah, today was not a good day to fire and forget.
No, not so much. Man, oh man, I think I'm about to recrunch and get myself a little bit more Ivan Robb.
Yeah, as well you should. It's having all those guys out, 8 people. I mean, he is a point per minute guy and not a great spot. I do not think you get 45 out of him in 38 minutes here. But I think you probably get 38 out of him in 38 minutes here, and that's pretty good for 5,100. So you'd want to have some there, and as we saw last time, the ceiling is not unachievable.
That's very true.
He was great that last game. So good. He had one of the best man buckets I've ever seen. Like, they missed multiple fouls on him, and they're just 2 guys literally riding him in the paint. And he still forced up just a beautiful, a pretty simple layup. But still, I was inspired.
Trying to walk through here to see if I have anybody way more than I would like to. I think that'll work. So let's export this late swaptimized.
Do you have, is your shit on the screen behind us? Are you streaming that?
I am.
Yeah, I figure you usually do. I don't think you did for the trade show.
Oh, no. I had us bucket. There was nothing really for me to show outside of a Twitter feed, so I just had us boxed in. But yeah, FanDuel, this has been on the screen the entire time.
Free flowers on FanDuel. Did you see that?
Free flowers?
I got a flower solicitation, or my friends with flower solicitation on it. Yeah. Some FanDuel ownerships, Motley 6% minimum price of power forward.
That's ludicrous.
Yes, it is. Even if we're wrong, it's ludicrous. Yep. Like, you and I are smart enough dudes that based on the present information, that number is too low. Now, we could somehow get screwed. He might play 18 minutes and not pay it off. But based on what we know, that's just wrong. Like,
even if you get, like, if you're playing, basically, I mean, how many other punts are at that position at 35, 36?
I don't know.
That you think that could be, like, non-drops?
Way of telling, but...
I mean, like, if we're thinking about, like, guys that you would be okay to have.
Yeah, none. I mean, Bert, I think, is a small forward on that side. Dante Cunningham isn't going to get there again. Yesterday, maybe. Yeah, I'm going player. Myers Leonard, I believe, is a power forward. You could argue that could work out again. He's been getting more time, but
if I were playing anybody under 4K on FanDuel at that position, I'm probably playing Motley in every single piece of that. So if I had 150 and I was planning to punt that 50 times, then it's 50 Motley.
Yeah. Yes. Someone said, "Can you touch on OG again?"
He plays today.
He plays today. I think I'd probably I'd have to look at a rotation, but you probably have yours closer at hand. I imagine I'd Bojan with the first bucket of the game. Yeah. I imagine I'd have him at like 26 minutes.
I think that's exactly where I have him.
Yeah, 26, 27, 28, and he's in a good matchup. So I'd probably project him for 26 minutes and 20 to 21 fantasy points, I imagine would be. I'm doing it in my head. You've actually done this stuff, but that's imagine what I would project for minutes in production. But yeah, just not a guy who has super upside.
I actually had OG for 28 minutes, but minutes for him aren't particularly useful unless he's got 30 of them.
Yeah. So, I would say, let's see, Thad Young with guys starting. Montrez obviously got the start because he's got 6 fantasy points already.
And to the guys that played Sindarius Thornwell, he's at negative 0.5.
Well, I think he'll probably finish better than that. I'm not guaranteeing it. But yeah, Thornwell was, talk about you did not want that. Wallace at least has some sort of upside. Robinson even has more upside. Sindarius Thornwell is again on the bad side of the TJ Leaf game. So.
If I went to a Clippers game and I had Tyrone Wallace in my lineup and they didn't put him in at one point, the amount of times that I would be screaming, "Where's Wallace?" they would probably throw me out of that shit.
That's excellent.
I would yell it long enough until someone turned around, which would probably be Tyrone Wallace being like...
One of my favorite clips of the year was those guys yelling at LeBron from the upper deck, and he gives him the point.
I know. That's great.
I'm amazed by that. I'm like, really? That's like 200 yards in a crowded arena. Okay.
I can't believe he hears it.
I
don't mean like physically.
On the screen or something, right? Like maybe they're on the cam.
It blew my mind. Like, I figure he hears basically nothing now after playing in monster arenas for
tone that shit out. How the hell are
16 years? Like, it's like a white noise machine in his brain. So to hear it is crazy.
Turner was 11, by the way, in 3 minutes.
Yeah, he's looking good.
No block shed either, which this is a fine block spot for him. I don't know if anyone. Montrez also with 11 in 3 minutes. So
I don't know what you're watching, but yours is ahead of mine.
I'm watching the FanDuel lineup I ended on where Miles Turner has 10.7 and Montrez has 10.5.
I have the DK Live scoring up right now.
Gallinari with 9 already. Jesus. It's all happening.
Dude, back-to-back possessions for... maybe it's just repeating itself. Yeah, Turner, 10.5 fantasy points right now out of the gate on DK.
Same as Montrez and Gallo, not that far behind. Gallo, so yeah, some FanDuel ownerships. Thaddeus 9%, Montrez 14%, Towns 15%, Turner 16%.
I didn't end up with nearly enough Miles Turner. That's kind of
Ozon 13%, Lou 20%, Wigo 26%, Beverly 8%, Collison 7%. Both those feel pretty good. Shea 3%. 3% Shea on FanDuel. Like, he's $6,000, so it doesn't feel great, but still 3%. I don't want to get on top of some of that.
Goddamn, Miles Turner.
Oh, Sindarius Thornwell 7%, by the way. So more than Collison, Turner, and Shea, and then all the other guys.
Smart.
Smart. SMRT. I am smart.
Thanks, Homer.
Don't.
Gallo smash 13.25 on DK right now.
13.2 on FanDuel. So, Shooter's gonna shoot. That's all I'm saying. He's really actually a really underrated basketball player.
Gallo?
Like, he's been
incredible offensive player.
He's an incredible offensive player, an incredible shooter. Like, he's like close to like a 90% free throw guy, and he's a guy like he's an incredible offensive basketball player. He's just always hurt and he sucks at defense, but he's underrated. Like, people treat him like he's like Darko or something, and that's not fair. Yes. Towns only slightly more than 2 fantasy points a minute.
Yeah.
You got to step your game up, keep up with Gallo and all these other guys.
I'm excited to go watch some hoops. I need to figure out what I'm doing for dinner tonight.
You and I have done nearly 3 hours together today. I guess we can take a break.
Yes, we have. Well worth it. It was a great time.
Yeah, no, those great times. We got to do this every year, and again, WrestleMania. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I confirmed yesterday. One of my college roommates is flying down for Mania weekend, so that's exciting.
Where is it this year? I can't remember. Is Charlotte? No,
it's in Jersey.
It is Jersey. It's Meadowlands.
Yeah. But yeah, I got a buddy flying down, and that is also Azalea Fest weekend in Wilmington, which is usually a pretty fun weekend. I have seen Ludacris and Nelly in 2 separate concerts.
Hey, now.
Yeah, they both played the parking lot behind my former office. I wish I were kidding. It's simply a parking lot that is used for the community college.
That's really amusing.
Yeah, Nelly got arrested the day after the concert for guns and drugs and shit.
As you will.
Yes. So, Live Before Lock is the promo code, which I did not plug until right now. If you're still with us,
people are still watching. We got 200 or 300 left. Are we still
750?
Jesus, you people! I don't have anything better to do. We're talking about WrestleMania. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
50% off your first month with the promo code Live Before Lock. Hit the like button on your way out the door. Thank you for joining us. Tomorrow, myself and Adam will be here in the morning breaking down the entire slate. You'll have the deep dive. You'll have Live Before Lock with Eddie and Chris. And I will be on at 1 o'clock tomorrow walking you through Fantasy Cruncher Rewind and how I use that on a daily basis.
That's good shit. That's very easy.
Join me for that.
Yeah.
Best of luck, everybody. We're out of here.
All right. Peace.